Hello and welcome back to Fox Football on 101 The Fox. Joining me now is my former teammate, Chiefs wide receiver Marc Boerigter. Marc, first and foremost, appreciate you coming on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Kendall. Doing well, buddy.
Okay, Marc, big game. You've played in a lot of Raiders games. You've played in a lot of Monday Night Football games. I think everybody's curious your thoughts as somebody who's been out there and done it at a high level. Just talk to me about tonight's game and what you see happening. First, I guess, from the offensive side of things with Kansas City, considering how they came off and how they played at Tampa.
Well, I think one of the things to look at that game in Tampa, a week ago was an overall dominant performance, right? This team got back on track. The offensive line was clearly challenged during the week to, really step up their game from what they were a week ago, previously against Indianapolis. And I think they came out and answered the challenge. There was a concerted effort to run the football. I don't know if it was necessarily over 30 times type of thing, but
yeah,
they got after him. And I think part of that, Kendall, was the game plan and the way the game went along dictated it. When you're getting 5-6 yards a shot running the football, as you know, it's a good thing. And that was not skewed by, a 40-yard run here, a 50-yard run here over the course of the game. That was just an old-fashioned, we're going to get after you up front, move the line of scrimmage, and the backs are getting more comfortable in their vision, I think, behind this offensive line. I think it was a downright battle. And I think, and you know this too, I don't necessarily place a lot of stock in, quote, revenge games, but I think this team went down and said, we were embarrassed last time we were on this field in the Super Bowl, and we're not going to be that way this week. And I feel like they were disappointed in their performance against Indianapolis. But now they sit here 3-1 going into this game against the Raiders, and traditionally, this has obviously been a heated physical rivalry over the history of these franchises, whether they were in Los Angeles, whether they were in Oakland, or whether they're now in Las Vegas. It's been a little bit more one-sided over the past few years, but it's a divisional game where you control that you can go up an additional game on the other guy with a win. And, my only concern is, are they looking past the Raiders into next week with Buffalo? But I don't think that's going to happen with this team this week. I think they're focused on the task at hand here for Monday night.
That's interesting you talk about that. And again, talking with Marc Boerigter, former Chiefs wide receiver. Sometimes you do talk about trap games and looking forward, but do you think it helps that it's on? First of all, it helps because it's Raider week also, but also, do you think because it's the national game and they know they're the only ones playing, it helps focus you more and maybe get you out of that possible trap of looking at Buffalo? Because obviously, from a fan standpoint, a lot of people have chalked this up as we're going to win. This is a 1-3 Raiders team, and that you just can't do that in the NFL, and they're already looking towards Buffalo.
Well, I think the fans are already probably looking towards Buffalo, as you mentioned. I don't think this team is. I think they understand this is a divisional game. And I think they looked at this Raiders team specifically last week against the Denver Broncos. This team is getting a lot better. And, this team's an overtime game away from being 2-2 right now, against the Arizona Cardinals. So I think that's how players look at it, going, hey, this was an overtime game against Arizona that this Raiders team played. They could be 2-2 right now. With an opportunity to be 3-2 if they won this game, which would be the exact same record if the Chiefs had if they lost to the Raiders, right? If both teams are where they're at right now. So it's an important game. They're 1-3. You have an opportunity to put the Raiders in a spot at the basement of the AFC West where they're really fighting for their lives. But when you watch the Raiders play a week ago, even from a player standpoint, new offense, new head coach, one of the best receivers in the entire National Football League in Devontae Adams started to get on track, started to get on the same page. And that's the thing that concerns me watching this game, here is that, they can't look past this game. They have to treat this game with the utmost respect, and I think they will. I think a lot of fans look at this going, okay, it's the Raiders, they've been down, all those types of things with a new head coach. But this is an opportunity tonight, really, as we look at this Monday night game, for the Chiefs to put their foot down and cement their status right now, and keep sole possession of first place in the AFC West.
Talking with Marc Boerigter, again, former Chiefs wide receiver, holder of, I think, the record, or tied for the record, for longest TD pass at 99 yards, longer than I even cared to run in a week, let alone one play. But, okay, I'm going to ask you two questions. We're going to start with this one, which is, as a former receiver in the NFL, you have the unique perspective because you've been involved in it so much. When you look at the passing game of the Chiefs, and specifically Patrick Mahomes, just what goes through your mind?
When you specifically talk about Patrick Mahomes, I mean, everybody's talking about the little flip pass, of course, the corner end zone, the CH, the third down pass, where he kind of spun out of it and threw it up to Juju. But the two most impressive passes to me were both to Travis Kelce in that game on Sunday night. One is the first one where he throws it literally sidearm around a defender. And then the second one was right down the middle of the field. And you know this, Kendall, that's a lot of fans probably look at that and go, okay, that was a great catch by Kelce, which it was. But that was the only place that ball could be thrown.
Yeah.
And the amount of accuracy, low and away, and that he has is just amazing. And when you have a guy like him who can create plays with his legs, and he's unique because he can do it with his legs and run the football, or he's a danger when he gets outside the pocket. There's no play that's ever dead. And I think the biggest thing that amazes me about him is his ability to play within the structure of the offense also.
Uh-huh.
And then the awareness that he has, Kendall, outside the pocket of knowing where, the line of scrimmage is, knowing where the first down markers are, knowing if he just saw a defensive lineman put a hand into the face of his right tackle, look back, see the flag thrown, and then go ahead and take a shot down the field because he has a free play. I think that's the biggest thing. And when you have that kind of awareness along with the physical talent, it's pretty hard to match.
Yeah, it really is. Talking with Marc Boerigter, former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver. Okay, so on the other side of it, this defense of Kansas City is young. They're down a couple starters, yet they're playing well. Getting pressure on the QBs, on bringing it from all over, which I think is interesting. That's probably kudos to Steve Spagnuolo and what he's doing. But as a receiver, what do you see from this defense, and specifically the pass defense?
I think, when you look back at the Tampa Bay game, they gave up a lot of yards, but the game plan changed because they were up so much, right? It became a situation where we're going to let everything in front of us. We're going to rally the football and not get beat with some big plays and quick strike scores. So I think fans and everybody else needs to look at it that way. What I see with this defense this year is a hunger. There's a new team speed that we haven't seen the last couple of years. And I know Willie Gay's been out with a suspension here the last couple of weeks, but Nick Bolton's playing about as bad as well as any other middle linebacker in the country in the National Football League right now. And they fly the football. And, Kendall, I use the example of this. They got a lot of young guys back there now in the secondary. Obviously, the Jerry Sneed's, still a young guy in the secondary, but almost as a veteran leader. Juan Thornhill's a veteran leader, and Justin Reed's been around a little bit. But they've got a lot of young guys. And you can lump, George Karlaftis into that at defensive, at defensive end as well. They're young and naive, and I don't like to use the term young and dumb, right? But young and naive, and it's when you're young and naive, you go play football and you take the risks you need to take, and you fly around with the football. And I think Steve Spagnuolo has done a nice job this year of mixing in a lot of pressure early. Number one, to see what you have out of your corners, to see what they can do, what they can cover with, and then also, not putting too much in too early on these guys. Just getting in defenses where they can go play, they don't have to think too much, and just can rally to the football. And you know this as well as I do, when you're not thinking out there, you can eliminate the amount of reads or different things that are going on from a defensive standpoint, especially when it comes to coverages, and you can just play. You can go react to the football and make plays. And I know that they got beat a little bit in the game by Mike Evans, but some of those were just a perfect throw and a great player, right? They're great coverage on those things.
Yeah.
So I think the future is bright for this defense. I think the one key thing I look at is traditionally Steve Spagnuolo's defenses is taking to about midseason to kind of get rolling on things, to really kind of settle in. If they have been this good so far through the first 4 games, I can't wait to see what's going to happen here in the next 4 games and where they're at in the end of the season.
Yeah, that is a fabulous point and well taken for sure. All right, Marc, we're going to let you go, but beforehand, just your thoughts on the game tonight and maybe just a guess at the score.
I think the Chiefs win